Welcome back. I am Pratap here. Today is 7th March 2025. In this video, I am going to generate different supply demand zone reports useful to the premium subscribers. Even before that, all of you please note we are providing complete free training on supply demand zone price action. And it is a highly expensive training course, but we made it complete free training. And all the training lessons are already available at our NeoStock YouTube channel. So how to access these videos? Simple. At our NeoStock YouTube channel, click on the tab posts. You get access to this post. Some of you might be seeing community tab in place of posts. So click on the community tab. You get this post. And this post is having a YouTube playlist link that will take you to all the training lessons. You just click on the link. Now we are into supply demand zone price action course. And you have all the training lessons are available in this playlist. You need to start our training from lesson 1.1 that is available at the bottom of the page. Scroll down to the bottom of the page. Here starting from lesson 1.1, I kept all the training lessons in an order. So please go through all these lessons one by one according to my training instructions available at our Telegram channel. I provided the link to our Telegram channel in this video description. Please join at our Telegram channel. At the top of the window, at the Telegram channel window, you can find pinned messages. Click on the pinned messages. There you can find all the training instructions. Please learn this course according to my training instructions. Then you will become a very good independent trader in the coming months. Please make use of this opportunity. Now I'm going to generate supply demand zone reports with the help of NeoStock Software Supply Demand Zone Top-Down Analysis Strategy Builder. Okay, first I am going to find the stocks near demand and supply zones for all the time frames. And daily and above time frames, price closed inside demand and supply zones, I will identify. During this process, on daily and 75 minutes time frame, I will identify HLQ zones. And also don't forget, today is end of the week. I will be generating few additional weekly reports at the time when I am generating stocks near weekly demand and supply zones. Okay, let me start with the half-yearly time frame. Price closed inside half-yearly demand zone. We got four stocks. I'm giving you only few seconds time to watch the report. So I request you pause the video, study the report, and then you can proceed to the next reports. In case if you don't understand the structure of this report, I request you complete our training lesson 21.1. That is part 1 of lesson 21. In that video, I explained each and every column, their values, and abbreviations in detail. Okay, now let's move on to the next report. For yearly time frame, price closed inside the yearly supply zone. No stocks are available. Yearly time frame, any stocks near yearly demand zone? No stocks. And also yearly time frame, stocks near yearly supply zone? No stocks are available. Okay, fine. Next time frame is half yearly. Stocks near half yearly demand zone. We got 3 stocks. Next, half yearly time frame. Stocks near half yearly supply zone. We don't have any stocks. For half yearly time frame, price closed inside the half yearly demand zone. We got 7 stocks. Next, half-yearly time frame, price closed inside half-yearly supply zone, we got 2 stocks. Next time frame is quarterly, stocks near quarterly demand zone, We got 3 stocks. Next, quarterly time frame, stocks near quarterly supply zone. We got 5 stocks. Next, quarterly time frame, price closed inside the quarterly demand zone. First 22 stocks in the list. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 41 stocks are filtered. Price closed inside the quarterly demand zone. We can further filter this list by setting EMA Confluence on the quarterly demand zone. So let's add that filter. So in the EMA Confluence at a quarterly time frame, I am setting the filter quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA Confluence or not. And also while setting the EMA Confluence, trend on the quarterly should not be sideways. It should be either up or down, but not sideways. Because you already land sideways, EMA Confluence does not give any advantage. Okay, with these filters, the list is come down to 21 stocks. So in these 20 stocks. In these 20 stocks, all quarterly demand zones are having quarterly EMA Confluence. And also the current price closed inside the quarterly demand zone. Okay, next. Quarterly time frame. Price closed inside quarterly supply zone. We got 4 stocks. Let's verify out of these 4 how many quarterly supply zones are having quarterly EMA Confluence. So in the EMA Confluence at quarterly time frame, I am setting the filter quarterly supply zone having quarterly EMA Confluence or not, and trend on the quarterly time frame should not be sideways. So it can be up or down. So we got 3 stocks out of 4. 3 quarterly supply zones are having quarterly EMA Confluence, and also current price closed inside the quarterly supply zone. Okay, this is about quarterly time frame. Next time frame is monthly. Stocks near monthly demand zone. We got 6 stocks. Next, monthly time frame. Stocks near monthly supply zone. We got 5 stocks. Okay, next, monthly time frame. Price closed inside the monthly demand zone. First 19 stocks in the list. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 45 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on the monthly demand zone having monthly EMA Confluence. So let's add that filter. I'm going back. In the EMA Confluence at monthly time frame, I'm adding the filter monthly demand zone having monthly EMA Confluence. And also the trend on the monthly should not be sideways. It can be up or down. So with these filters, out of 45, the list is come down to 22 stocks. So first 21 stocks in the list. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 22 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the monthly demand zone, and those monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA Confluence. Okay, next report for monthly time frame. price closed inside the monthly supply zone, we got 13 stocks. Let's verify out of these 13, how many monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA Confluence. I'm going back and setting the filter EMA Confluence on the monthly time frame by selecting the option monthly supply zone having monthly EMA Confluence, and also trend on the monthly time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. With these filters, we got 6 stocks. That means in these 6 stocks, these monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA Confluence, and also current price closed inside those monthly supply zones. So this is about monthly time frame. Next time frame is a weekly time frame. Because this is the end of the week, we will also generate some few additional reports like newly created weekly demand and supply zones and tested demand and supply zones during this week. And also we will look into weekly, monthly and quarterly demand zone confluence related stocks. Everything we will generate apart from stocks near and closed inside weekly and weekly demand and supply zones. Okay, for weekly time frame, let us find the stocks near weekly demand zone. We got 7 stocks. Okay, next, weekly time frame, stocks near weekly supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. So NIFTY is also near the weekly supply zone. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 16 stocks are filtered. Okay, next, weekly time frame. Price closed inside the weekly demand zone. First 15 stocks in the list. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 40 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the weekly demand zone. Okay, out of these 40, how many weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA Confluence? Let us verify. So I'm going back. I'm setting EMA Confluence filter on the weekly time frame by selecting the option weekly demand zone having weekly EMA Confluence, and also trend on the weekly should not be sideways. It can be up or down. With these filters, out of 40 we got only 6 stocks. So these 6 weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA Confluence, and also current price closed inside the weekly demand zone. Okay, this is about price closed inside the weekly demand zone and having weekly EMA Confluence. Okay, next report for weekly time frame. Price closed inside the weekly supply zone. First 16 stocks in the list. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 33 stocks are filtered. Out of these 33 weekly supply zones, how many weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA Confluence? Let us find. So I'm going back in the EMA Confluence filter. At a weekly time frame, I am setting the filter weekly supply zone having weekly EMA Confluence, and also trend on the weekly time frame should be either up or down. With these filters, we got 12 stocks. So that means these 12 stocks are having weekly supply zones with weekly EMA confluence. And also current price closed in those weekly supply zones. So this is about weekly time frame. Price closed inside the weekly supply zones. Next, we will generate a few additional reports for weekly time frame. For weekly time frame, let us find the tested weekly demand zones during this week. So these stocks having weekly demand zones are tested during this week. First 16 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 21 stocks are filtered. So that means these 21 stocks having weekly demand zones are tested during this week. Okay. Next, for weekly time frame, let us find the stocks having the tested weekly supply zones during this week. So 11 stocks are filtered. That means these 11 stocks having weekly supply zones are tested during this week. Okay, next we will identify newly created weekly demand and supply zones by end of this week. So weekly time frame, let us find the stocks having newly created weekly demand zones. So these 10 stocks are having newly created weekly demand zones. Okay. Next, for weekly time frame, let us find the stocks having newly created weekly supply zones. So no weekly supply zones are created during this week. Maybe that is the reason why demand dominated during this week. Okay, this is about newly created demand and supply zones. Next, weekly time frame, let us identify zone confluence with LTF, ITF, HTF, zone confluence. So entry time frame should be weekly. And let us identify how many stocks are having weekly zone confluence with monthly and quarterly in the demand zone confluence. So I am setting the filter weekly demand zone confluence with monthly demand zone, weekly demand zone confluence with quarterly demand zone, and also monthly demand zone confluence with quarterly demand zone. That means with these three filters, weekly zone is inside the monthly zone, both together again inside the quarterly zone. That means they are overlapped with quarterly zone. Inside means not exactly inside. It can overlap at a distal line or proximal lines. See, we got a big list. Even Nifty Bank, both are having confluence. Weekly, monthly and quarterly zone confluence. Those both the stocks. Okay, first 16 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. Later on, we will further filter this list with quarterly EMA confluence. Because weekly and monthly together part of the quarterly zone, we will filter based on quarterly zone confluence, EMA confluence. Okay, first 16 stocks. I am scrolling the list down. So total 40 stocks are filtered. In these 40 stocks, weekly zone is overlapped with quarterly zone, both together. Weekly zone is overlapped with monthly zone, both together again overlapped with quarterly zone. Okay, we can further filter this list by setting EMA confluence on the quarterly demand zone. So that means how many of these quarterly demand zones are having quarterly EMA confluence? Because the weekly and monthly are part of the quarterly zone. So in the EMA confluence at a quarterly time frame, I am setting the filter quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence. And also trend on the quarterly time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. So with these filters, out of 40 stocks, we got 26 stocks. See, now the list is come down to 26. Okay, first 16 stocks in the list. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 26 stocks are filtered. Okay, this is about weekly, monthly and quarterly demand zone confluence and quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence. Similarly, we will see supply zone confluence also. Okay, entry time frame should be weekly. And supply zone confluence, I should select weekly, monthly and quarterly supply zone confluence. So I am setting the filter, first filter weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. Second filter weekly supply zone with quarterly supply zone confluence. And third filter monthly supply zone with quarterly supply zone confluence. With all the three filters, we got 7 stocks. That means in these 7 stocks, these weekly supply zones, all these weekly supply zones are overlapped with monthly supply zone. Both together again overlapped with quarterly supply zone. And quarterly supply zones having quarterly EMA confluence also we will identify. Out of these 7, how many quarterly supply zones are having quarterly EMA confluence? Because weekly and monthly zones together part of the quarterly zone. That's why we are looking into quarterly supply zone having quarterly EMA confluence. So in the EMA confluence at quarterly time frame, I am setting the filter quarterly supply zone having quarterly EMA confluence. And trend on the quarterly time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. With these filters, we got only 2 stocks. So in these 2 stocks, these 2 quarterly supply zones are having, these are the weekly supply zones. Sorry, these weekly supply zones are overlapped with monthly and then with quarterly. And those quarterly supply zones are having quarterly EMA confluence. And also don't forget this weekly supply zone is a pierced supply zone. Maybe you can look into the stock if any pierced zone strategies are applicable in that. Okay, this is about weekly time frame. And the next time frame is daily. Entry time frame daily, let us find the stocks near daily demand zone. We got 9 stocks. Out of these 9, let us identify high liquidity daily demand zones from this list. High priority, high liquidity daily demand zones that you will be using for HLQ zone strategy that you learned in lesson 21.3. That is part 3 of lesson 21. We got 1 stock, but it is a pierced zone. You can't use a pierced zone for HLQ zone strategy. You can use it for pierced zone strategies because already thrice it is pierced, same zone. Moreover, it was a high liquidity zone. You can use it for pierced zone strategies, but for our HLQ zone strategy, you cannot use it. That means from this list, we don't have any valid high liquidity daily demand zones. Okay. Next, for daily time frame, let us find the stocks near daily supply zone. We got 13 stocks. Let us identify high liquidity daily supply zones from this list. Havels is having a high liquidity daily supply zone. IGL is having a daily high liquidity supply zone. Tata Motors is having a daily high liquidity supply zone. That's it. We identified 3 high liquidity daily supply zones from this list. Okay, next. For daily time frame, let us find the stocks where price closed inside daily demand zone. First 15 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 25 stocks are filtered. Price closed inside daily demand zone. Let's verify out of these 25 how many daily demand zones are having daily EMA Confluence. So I'm going back, and in the EMA Confluence filter at daily time frame, I am setting the option daily demand zone having daily EMA Confluence. And also trend on the daily time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. With these filters, we got 5 stocks. And these 5 daily demand zones are having daily EMA Confluence. And some of these daily demand zones are pierced demand zones. You can apply pierced zones. Look into the PIE column, short name pierced. If count is more than 0, then the demand zone is a pierced demand zone. Okay. Next, we will look into price closed inside daily supply zone. For daily time frame, let us find the stocks where price closed inside daily supply zone. So we got a big list. First 15 stocks in the list. Oh, NIFTY is also inside pierced supply zone. Okay, I am scrolling the list down. So total 60 stocks are filtered. Out of these 60, how many daily supply zones are having daily EMA Confluence? Let us find. In the EMA Confluence, at a daily time frame, at a daily time frame, I am setting the filter daily supply zone having daily EMA Confluence, and trend on the daily time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. So with these filters, now the list is come down. First 15 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 31 stocks are filtered. So all the current price closed inside the daily supply zone, and the daily supply zone is having daily EMA Confluence. So this is about daily time frame. The next time frame is 125 minutes. Stocks near 125 minutes demand zone. We got 13 stocks. Next, 125 minutes time frame, stocks near 125 minutes supply zone. We got 10 stocks. Okay. Next time frame is 75 minutes. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Let us find the stocks near 75 minutes demand zone. We got 13 stocks. Out of these 13, how many are having high liquidity 75 minutes demand zones? Let us identify. IRB is having a high liquidity 75 minutes demand zone. JSL is having a high liquidity 75 minutes demand zone. Kalyani Jewellers are having high liquidity daily demand zone. 75 minutes demand zone. Next, Pidilite Industries is having a high liquidity 75 minutes demand zone. And Sonacoms is having a high liquidity 75 minutes demand zone. We have identified 5 stocks from this list having high liquidity 75 minutes demand zones. Okay, next, for 75 minutes time frame, let us find the stocks near to the 75 minute supply zone. We got 5 stocks. Let us identify high liquidity 75 minute supply zones from this list. Now, we don't have any valid high liquidity 75 minute supply zones for our HLQ zone strategy. Okay, this is about, we also completed daily and 75 minutes high liquidity zones. So, next report for 25 minutes time frame, stocks near 25 minutes demand zone, we got 6 stocks. Next, 25 minutes time frame, stocks near 25 minutes supply zone, we got 13 stocks. Okay, next time frame is 15 minutes, stocks near 15 minutes demand zone, we got 5 stocks. Let's verify out of these 15 minutes, how many are having ITF Confluence? That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone Confluence. With this filter, we got only 1 stock. So, this 15 minutes demand zone is overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. Okay, next, for 15 minutes time frame, stocks near 15 minutes supply zone, we got 14 stocks. Let's verify out of these 14 stocks, how many are having ITF supply zone Confluence. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone Confluence. I am enabling the filter. With this filter, we got 6 stocks. That means these 6 weekly supply zones are having 15 minute supply zones are having Confluence with 75 minute supply zone. But the first one and 5th one are already PRs, so you can ignore them. Or you can also check if there is any possibility of PR zone strategies, if applicable. That way also you can use those stocks. Okay, this is about 15 minutes time frame. Next time frame is 5 minutes. Stocks near 5 minutes demand zone, we got 4 stocks. Now let's verify out of these 4, how many of these 5 minutes demand zones are having ITF demand zone Confluence. That is 5 minutes demand zone with 15 minutes demand zone Confluence. I am enabling the filter. So with this filter, we got only 1 stock. Okay, next, for 5 minutes time frame, stocks near 5 minutes supply zone, we got 8 stocks. Now let's verify out of these 8 how many 5-minute supply zones are having ITF supply zone Confluence. That is 5-minute supply zone with 15-minute supply zone Confluence. With this filter, we got 5 stocks. First one is a pierced supply zone, and even second one also pierced supply zone. And remaining 3 stocks, these 5-minute supply zones are not pierced, and they are overlapped with 15-minute supply zone. So this is about stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. Okay. The next set of reports are about NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. Let's generate them. Let's start with NIFTY. Starting with monthly time frame, I am generating monthly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Okay, this is a NIFTY monthly supply demand zone chain. Always look into the zone column to find the high liquidity zones, and look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones, and always look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected. So this is how you should understand the remaining supply demand zone chain reports. Okay, next, generating weekly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Okay, next, daily supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Okay, next, 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Okay, next, 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Okay, next, 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Let me put it in the center so that you know equal number of demand and supply zones on your screen. Okay. Next, 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. And all these are all 15-minute supply zones. Let us find the demand zone that is nearest to the current closing price. I am scrolling the list down. Okay, 37 serial number. This is the nearest demand zone to the current closing price, and 36 is the nearest supply zone to the current closing price. So let me put them in the center so that below and above you know the nearest demand and supply zones. Okay. Next, 5-minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. All these are all supply zones, 5-minute supply zones. I am scrolling the list down. Again, all are supply zones. Further scrolling the list down. And here you have demand zones. The nearest demand zone to the current closing price is 67. Let me put it in the center. Okay. Okay, this is about 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Next, we will generate Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. Going back, changing the name to Nifty Bank. That is nothing but Bank Nifty. Starting with monthly time frame, generating monthly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Okay, next, weekly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. And this is the 26th is the nearest demand zone to the current closing price. So let me put it in the center. Okay. Okay, next, 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. All these are all 5 minute supply zones. I'm scrolling the list down. And here at 33, this PR's demand zone is the current closing, is the nearest to the current closing price. So let me put it in the center so that you know equal number of demand and supply zones. Okay. So this is about Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. With this we have completed both Nifty and Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. Okay, next set of reports are about bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly, weekly, daily and hourly income trades. For monthly income trade bullish trade setup, entry time frame is daily. Entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame daily, I am selecting bullish. And the zone achievement should always be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhanced score should be 12. So with these filters, we got 10 stocks. So these 10 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. And all these entry time frame zones are daily demand zones. Some of the PRs demand zones are also here, so that you can apply PRs zone strategies on them. Some of them are high liquidity demand zones, daily demand zones. So these are the demand zones or entry zones. Okay. Among these 10 demand zones, some of the demand zones might be having some high probability to get the success. So we need to find them. For that we are using zone confluence strategy, and later we are applying EMA confluence strategy. These are the strategies I explained in lesson 27. In case if you did not complete lesson 27, please complete that lesson, so that you understand the strategies and also you understand their importance very clearly. Okay, now let me filter. First strategy is LTF and ITF demand zone confluence, and later further filter with ITF EMA confluence. And second strategy, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, and further later we will filter with HTF EMA confluence. This is how these two strategies we are applying. Okay, let's apply LTF and ITF demand zone confluence on these 10 stocks. That means we want to know how out of these 10 daily demand zones, how many are having confluence with weekly demand zone. That's why I'm setting the filter daily demand zone having weekly demand zone confluence supported stocks. So with this filter, out of 10 stocks, we got 6 stocks. In all these 6 stocks, these daily demand zones are overlapped with weekly demand zones. All these daily demand zones. That means they are inside the weekly or overlapped with the weekly demand zone. Okay, weekly trend is up in all these stocks, because ITF trend is always uptrend for bullish trade setup. Okay, now let us check how many of the weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA confluence, and trend also in our favor. So in the EMA confluence at weekly time frame. Why weekly? Because the daily demand zone is overlapped with weekly. That's why we are checking weekly demand zone is having weekly EMA confluence. So we set that filter. With this filter, out of 6, we got 2 stocks. So these two are having even more high probability to get the success. We are not saying they will be successful. We are saying that their probability is improved to get the success. It's a probability game. Sometimes these zones will be violated, other factors will be there. But probability. But see, you look into this, is already tested 6 times, this one. And this one already tested 9 times. Excellent, right? Next time, now are they going to work? They're all depending on the other parameters that you studied in lesson 20, checklist items. If the checklist item supports, maybe you may get one more success also. Okay, this is based on LTF, ITF and ITF EMA confluence. Next, LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence supported stocks. Let us identify. I am removing EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, daily with weekly demand zone confluence. Second filter, daily demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. Third filter, weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we can identify LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. That means daily is overlapped with weekly, both together overlapped with monthly demand zone. Such kind of stocks we want to know. we got two stocks, bullish trade setup. In these two stocks, these daily demand zones are overlapped with weekly demand zone, and both together overlapped with monthly demand zone. That is what we set the filter. Always look into the search strategy so that you understand how we filtered these stocks. Okay. In all the three, in both these stocks, all the three time frames, LTF, ITF, HTF zone confluence we have seen. Okay, that means daily and weekly together part of the monthly demand zone, and monthly trend is up in both the stocks. Because both daily and weekly are overlapped with monthly zone, if monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence, because the trend is up both the stocks, then those stocks could be even more high probability if monthly EMA confluence is there. Let's check. So EMA confluence at monthly time frame, I am setting the filter. Monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence or not. And already trend is uptrend. Because EMA confluence should not use in sideways, but uptrend you can use. And moreover, it is a bullish trade setup. So out of two, we got one stock. So it is even more high probability trade setup supported. Maybe that is the reason why I already tested 6 times. So this is about bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry time frame is daily. Entry zone, supply zone. Bullish or bearish trade setup at daily, I am selecting bearish. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd and hands score 12. With these filters, we got 6 stocks. And all these 6 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. And the entry time frame zones are daily supply zones. These daily supply zones are our entry time frame zones. Okay, out of these 6 daily supply zones, we should look for high probability to supported zones to get the success. For first filter, we are using LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is a daily and a weekly supply zone confluence. So I am enabling the filter. Out of 6, we got all 6 stocks. That means in all these 6 stocks, these daily supply zones are overlapped with weekly supply zones. And the weekly trend is down in all these stocks because it is bearish trade setup. ITF down. ITF is weekly. So that's why let us check if weekly supply zone is having weekly EMA confluence in these 6 stocks. If any of the stocks are having weekly EMA, because the daily supply zone is overlapped with weekly, then the daily supply zones are more high probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence weekly time frame, I am selecting weekly supply zone are having weekly EMA confluence. So we got 2 stocks. So these 2 stocks are having more high probability to get the success. But this is based on LTF, ITF and ITF EMA confluence. LTF, ITF supply zone confluence and ITF supply zone with ITF EMA confluence. That strategy we used. Okay, next let us look into LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence. That is nothing but daily, weekly and monthly supply zone confluence supported stocks. I am removing this EMA filter, and in the supply zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled. Second, daily with monthly supply zone confluence, and then weekly with monthly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence, we got 3 stocks. In all the 3 stocks, these daily supply zones are overlapped with weekly supply zone. Both together again overlapped with monthly supply zone. But monthly trend, HTF trend is sideways in all the 3 stocks. So sideways trend, checking EMA confluence does not add any advantage. So let's leave that. So this is bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, we will look into weekly income trade, bullish and bearish trade setups. Okay, weekly income trade, bullish trade setup. Entry time frame 15 minutes, entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame 75 minutes. Sorry, entry time frame should be 75 minutes for weekly income trade, not 15 minutes. Please, I am correcting this. So in bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame 75 minutes, I am selecting bullish. And 3 filters we have to set on 75 minutes demand zone. First filter, 75 minutes demand zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Second filter, minimum odd enhancer score for 75 minutes demand zone should be 12. And third filter, 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, minimum value I am setting 0, maximum value 0. That means pierced count should be 0. Pierced count 0 means zone is not pierced. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 4 stocks. That means currently 4 stocks, these 4 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. And all these entry time frame zones are 75 minutes demand zones. See the time frame, always look into the time frame here. And your entry zone you can identify here. The other filters what you set. This is how you should understand the reports. Any mistakes we make, we can identify in the search strategy. Okay, these 4 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Okay, now we can further test or identify how many of these zones are having more probability to get success. First filter is LTF, ITF demand zone confluence. LTF is 75 minutes, ITF is daily. So in the demand zone confluence, I am selecting 75 minutes demand zone confluence with daily demand zone. So I selected that filter. With this filter, out of 4, 3 stocks we got. That means in these 3 stocks, these 75 minutes demand zones are overlapped with daily demand zone. And the daily trend is up in all the 3 stocks because it is bullish trade setup. If any of these, out of these 3, if any of these stocks daily demand zones are having daily EMA, then the 75 minutes demand zones are having even more high probability to get success because 75 minutes demand zone is overlapped with daily demand zone. So let's find the EMA confluence on the daily time frame. I'm selecting daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence filter. Anyway, trend is uptrend and daily. So all the 3 stocks are filtered. That means all these 3 stocks are having more probability to get success. And moreover, all 3 are high liquidity zones. See the Bajaj Finance already tested 5 times with 5 rejections, all 5. Okay, this is about LTF, ITF with ITF EMA confluence. Next, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. That means 75 minutes daily and weekly demand zone confluence. Filters we will set. Removing EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, first filter is already enabled, 75 with daily zone confluence. Next, 75 minutes demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. And daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence with all the 3 filters enabled. LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. We got 1 stock. So that means in this stock, this daily zone is this 75 minutes zone. This is the 75 minutes demand zone. Is overlapped with daily demand zone. Both together overlapped with weekly demand zone. And the weekly trend is up. If weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence, then this stock is even more high probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, I am setting the filter weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. With this filter, we got the stock. That means this stock might be having even more high probability to get the success. So this is bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame is 75 minutes. Entry zone is supply zone for bearish trade setup. And also in bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes time frame, I am selecting bearish. And zone achievement should be violated, opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. And pierced count on this 75 minutes time frame, minimum value should be 0, maximum value 0. That means zone is not pierced. And all the three filters are applied to 75 minutes supply zone. Because you selected 75 minutes supply zone, whatever the three filters you selected, zone achievement, minimum odd enhancer score, and zone pierced, all three are applied to this particular zone. Let's filter. And we got 17 stocks. And the first 15 stocks in the list, I am scrolling the list down. Remember, first two are indices. Remaining all are equity stocks. So total 17 stocks are filtered. All these 17 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade, and entry time frame zones are 75 minute supply zones. That means all these supply zones are 75 minutes time frame supply zones. Okay, out of these 17 75 minute supply zone, some of the zones might be having more probability to get success. So let's find those stocks based on the zone confluence. First filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 75 minutes and daily supply zone confluence. So I'm enabling the filter 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. We are applying this filter on the 17 stocks. Now the list is come down to 16 stocks. That means all these 16 stocks, these 75 minute supply zones are overlapped with daily supply zone. And the daily trend is down. ITF trend is down in all these stocks, daily trend, because it is bearish trade setup. And 75 minute supply zone overlapped with daily supply zone. That's why let us verify if daily supply zone is having daily EMA confluence. If any stocks are filtered, there is 75 minute supply zones are more powerful because they are overlapped with daily, and daily is having daily EMA confluence. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at daily time frame, I am setting the filter daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence. Anyway, trend is downtrend in all the stocks because it is bearish trade setup. Now the list is come down to 12 stocks. So these 12 75 minute supply zones might be having more high probability to get the success. Bearish trade setup for weekly income trade based on LTF, ITF and ITF EMA confluence. Okay, next we will further filter, not these stocks, from the original list. Let us verify how many are having LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence. I am removing EMA filter. Now in the supply zone confluence, three filters we have to set. First filter is already we enabled 75 with daily supply zone confluence. Second filter 75 minute supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. Third filter daily supply zone confluence with weekly supply zone. With all the three filters, LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence, we got 6 stocks. In these 6 stocks, the 75 minute supply zones are overlapped with daily supply zone. Both together overlapped with weekly supply zone. This is what happened in all the 6 stocks. So these 75 minute supply zones They have LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence. HTF, that means all are part of HTF. How they are HTF? First 75 is inside daily, and then both together are inside the daily weekly supply zone. 75 and daily together part of the weekly supply zone. That is what zone confluence. And that weekly trend is down in 1, 2, 3 stocks. First, third and fourth in this list. And if those 3 stocks trend is downtrend, if those weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA, then these 75-minute supply zones could be even more high probability to get success if any of those stocks are filtered based on EMA confluence. Let's verify. I'm applying EMA filter at weekly time frame. Weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence. We are checking, and some of the stocks are having weekly trend sideways. We don't want them. So that's why in the trend at a weekly time frame, I'm selecting down because it is bearish trade setup. Let's filter. Now the list is come down to 2 stocks. See, now both the stocks HTF trend is downtrend. Why HTF we are looking? Because daily and weekly are, 75 minutes and daily are part of the weekly. That's why weekly trend we are checking downtrend for bearish trade setup. So these two 75-minute supply zones are having more probability, high probability to get success. Okay, this is bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Okay, the next income trade is daily income trade. For daily income trade, bullish trade setup, entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone is demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame 15 minutes, I am selecting bullish. And we should apply 3 filters on 15 minutes demand zone. First one is zone achievement should be always violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer should always be 12. And this 15 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. So with these filters, we got 4 stocks. That means currently these 4 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade. And the entry time frame zones are 15 minutes demand zones. These are the entry time frame demand zones. 15 minutes demand zones. Now let us identify out of these 15 minutes demand zone, those demand zones might be having more probability to get success. First let us filter based on zone confluence, LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. So I enable the filter, applying the filter on the 4 stocks. All 4 are filtered. That means all 4 stocks are having LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That means these 15 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. And 75 minutes trend is up in all these stocks. So let's check if any of the 75 minutes demand zones are having daily EMA confluence. So in the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting the filter 75 minutes demand zone is having daily EMA confluence or not. So 3 stocks are filtered, but 3 stocks, all the 75 minutes, because 75 minutes trend is up. So these 3 stocks might be having some more probability to get success. Okay, next let us look into LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. Removing EMA filter, in the demand zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, 15 minutes with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. Second filter, 15 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. Third filter, 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters enabled, we got 1 stock. So in this stock, this 15 minutes demand zone is overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. Both together again overlapped with daily demand zone. But daily trend is sideways. So I am not checking for daily EMA confluence because the trend is sideways trend. EMA confluence does not give any extra advantage. Okay, this is a bullish trade setup for daily income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone is supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes entry time frame, I am selecting bearish, and we should apply 3 filters on this entry time frame and a 15 minute supply zone. First filter is zone achievement. It should be violated opposing zone. Next filter 15 minutes odd enhanced score should always be 12. Minimum value should be 12. And the third filter 15 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0 and maximum value 0. That means 15 minute supply zone is not pierced, should not be pierced. With these filters, we got 3 stocks. And these 3 stocks are currently supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And entry time frame zones are 15 minute supply zones. These 3 are 15 minute supply zones. Now let's verify. Out of these 3, how many are having more probability to get success? So for that we use zone confluence. First filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. With this filter, out of 3, all 3 are filtered. That means in all the 3 stocks, these 15 minute supply zones are overlapped with 75 minute supply zone. And 75 minutes trend, ITF trend, is down in all the 3 stocks. ITF is 75 minutes. If any of these 75 minute supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, then those stocks might be having even more high probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence, at 75 minutes time frame, I am selecting the filter 75 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence or not. With this filter, we did not get any stocks. So that means none of those stocks are having daily EMA confluence, 75 minute zones with daily. Okay, fine. Next we will look into LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence. That is 15 minutes, 75 minutes and daily supply zone confluence. I am removing EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. Second filter is 15 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. Third filter is 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters enabled, we got 2 stocks. In these 2 stocks, these 15 minute supply zones are overlapped with 75 minute supply zone. Both together again overlapped with daily supply zone. And that daily time frame, the trend is down in only one stock. If this stock is having a daily supply zone with daily EMA confluence, then this 15 minute supply zone might be having more probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence, at daily time frame, I am setting the filter daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence or not. And also we don't want a daily trend sideways stocks. So that's why in the trend on the daily time frame, I am selecting downtrend because it is bearish trade setup. So with this filter, we did not get any stocks. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Okay. Next, we will look into hourly income trade, bullish and bearish trade setups. First, hourly income trade, bullish trade setup, entry time frame 5 minutes, entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame 5 minutes, I am selecting bullish, and the zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd and enhancer score should be 12, and 5 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, here in the pierced count at 5 minutes time frame, I am selecting minimum value 0 and maximum value 0. With these filters, we got 9 stocks. These 9 stocks are currently supporting bullish trade setup for hourly income trade, and all the entry time frame zones are 5 minutes demand zones. All these are all 5 minutes demand zones. And a few demand zones are high liquidity 5 minutes demand zones. Okay. So we can look for more probability to get success based on this zone confluence. First filter is LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is 5 minutes and 15 minutes demand zone confluence. Let's verify out of these 9 how many are having LTF, ITF demand zone confluence. That is 5 minutes demand zone with 15 minutes demand zone confluence. I enabled the filter. Out of 9, we got 8 stocks. All these 8 stocks, these 5 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 15 minutes demand zones. All these 5 minutes demand zones are overlapped. And 15 minutes trend, ITF trend is up in all these stocks. Out of these 8 stocks, if any of the 15 minutes demand zones are having daily EMA confluence, probably those zones might be having more probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at 15 minutes time frame, because 5 minutes zone is demand zone is overlapped with 15 minutes demand zone. That's why we are checking 15 minutes demand zone is having daily EMA confluence. So one stock is having. So this 5 minutes demand zone might be having more probability to get the success. And moreover, it is a 5 minutes high liquidity demand zone. Okay, this is based on LTF, ITF demand zone confluence and ITF EMA confluence. Next, we will look into LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. I am removing this EMA filter. So in the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, 5 minutes demand zone with 15 minutes demand zone confluence. Second filter, 5 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. And third filter, 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we got 4 stocks. That means in these 4 stocks, these 5 minutes demand zones are fine-tuned demand zones in 75 minutes demand zone. That means 5 minutes is overlapped with 15 minutes, both together again overlapped with 75 minutes time frame. And the 75 minutes trend is up in 3 stocks. If any of these 3 stocks are having 75 minutes demand zone with daily EMA confluence, then these 5 minutes demand zones could be more high probability to get the success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame, we are setting 75 minutes demand zone having daily EMA confluence or not. And also trend on the 75 minutes demand zone should not be sideways. That's why trend should be uptrend because it is bullish trade setup. So one stock is filtered. This is having more high probability to get success. Okay, this is about a bullish trade setup for hourly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for hourly income trade. Entry time frame is 5 minutes. Entry zone is supply zone. And in bullish or bearish trade setup at 5 minutes time frame, I am selecting bearish. And 3 filters we have to set on this 5 minutes supply zone. First filter is zone achievement. Should always be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer should always be a minimum 12. And third filter, 5 minutes supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, at 5 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means pierced count should be 0. Pierced count 0 means the 5 minutes supply zone is not pierced, because we are applying that to 5 minutes supply zone. So we got 8 stocks. Currently these 8 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for hourly income trade. And all the entry time frame zones are 5 minute supply zones. All these are all 5 minute supply zones. Out of these 8 5 minute supply zones, how many are having more probability to get the success? We need to find that. So we can find based on the zone confluence. First filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 5 minutes and 15 minutes supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. With this filter, out of 8 stocks, we got 7 stocks. In these 7 stocks, these 5 minute supply zones are overlapped with 15 minute supply zones. And 15 minutes trend is down in all these stocks, ITF trend. If any of those stocks are having a 15 minute supply zone with daily EMA confluence, then those stocks might be having more probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting a 15 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence. So anyway trend is downtrend. We got 1 stock. So probably this 5 minute supply zone might be having more probability to get success, because 15 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence, and that 15 minute supply zone, 5 minutes supply zone is overlapped. This entry time frame supply zone is overlapped with 15 minute supply zone. Okay. Next we will look into LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence. That is 5 minutes, 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. I am removing EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, 5 minute supply zone with 15 minute supply zone confluence. Second filter, 5 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. Third filter, 15 minute supply zone with, not this one. 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters are enabled, 5 minutes, 15 minutes and 75 minute supply zone confluence, we got only 1 stock. So in this stock, this 5 minute supply zone is overlapped with 15 minute supply zone, both together overlapped with 75 minute supply zone. And 75 minutes trend, HTF trend, is down in this stock. If this 75 minute supply zone is having daily EMA confluence, then this stock is having even more high probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame, setting the filter 75 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence. And anyway 75 minutes trend is downtrend in that stock. So let's filter. So that is not having EMA confluence. Okay, so this is about bearish trade setup for hourly income trade. With this we have completed all the income trade, supply demand zone report generation, and in the final report let us generate stop buffers based on daily ATR. So I am generating. Okay, first 17 in this list are indices, remaining all are equity stocks. So I scroll the list down, whichever the stock you want to refer, there pause the video. After that you can proceed further. Okay, I'm scrolling the list down. This is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for your further study and analysis. Let's all meet again in our next video. Thank you.